Good afternoon, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and today we're here with Savage Saturday number 37. And what are we talking about? We are talking about the new Mirka Andolfo run series, Red Sonja, which started this week. So, this was a series I was really anticipating. I've been reading The Deep Beyond by Mirka Andolfo, and even though I haven't read a lot of her writing, I've really been enjoying The Deep Beyond. But I know it hasn't worked for a lot of people. But I was curious how she would capture the characterization of Red Sonja. Well, let's get a little bit more into it at first, because it's not just written by Mirka. Mirka is being assisted. The writers are Mirka Andolfo and Luca Blangino. I hope I said that correctly. And the illustrator is Giuseppe Cafaro. And I really want to mention the colorist because the colors are fantastic in this book. And the colorist was Chiara Di Francia, and the letterer was Hassan Asmani Al How. So, really, really well put together book. I was super impressed with this. Going into it, not knowing what to expect, not expecting the best, not expecting the worst, just open minded, ready to see what it's going to offer. And this book really, really delivers, I think. And why does it deliver? Because the writing of Mirka Andolfo and Luca Blangino really capture the character of Red Sonja in a lot of different ways. You, of course, get the warrior. You, of course, get the unstoppable force that she is. You get the fire, but you also get the compassion. You get the empathy. You get an all around fully realized Red Sonja. And you also get Sonja who just needs help every once in a while because nobody's invulnerable. And this first issue packs all of that in. And again, the main cover by Mirka Andolfo. I happen to think that cover is just okay. It's not my favorite. It's all right. I think her face is a little too stylized for me, but still a decent cover. I was, and there's more covers than this. My comic shop only had two of them, so I got the two they had. But the Jay Anacleto cover I thought was incredible. So that's this. Really good cover. Really glad they got this one. But really love it. Anyway, the art inside, and again, I mentioned the artist who was Giuseppe Cafaro. Um, really well done. It is a little stylized, but it works here and it works with the story. And the story's good. It opens up and there's this village burning, and there's this band of marauders that are following other marauders, and they're preying on their leftovers, and they're just despicable people, like the worst of humanity. And they're looking for anyone that they can finish killing, steal from, rape, whatever they can do, that's what they're looking to do. They're the dregs of the dregs. And they're kind of mad that the spoils aren't all there because the first party that went through took them all. And then they see Red Sonja ride into town. And they think this is going to be easy prey. They're going to have someone to steal from, someone to rape and pillage and the whole 9 yards. Until, of course, they find out that Red Sonja is not to be messed with. But Red Sonja is there on a mission. She is there to save a little girl. And when she rolls into town, she thinks this little girl might be dead. And Red Sonja is in a rage about it because she was there to save her. That was her job. She thinks she failed. She thinks this infant, this child, lost their life because she wasn't there in time. As it turns out, she deals with the marauders. The young girl's there, and the young girl keeps calling Red Sonja mother, and Red Sonja's like, "I'm not your mother." But there seems to be something in common with Red Sonja and the little girl, and there's a lot going on. So she does save the girl, and her and the girl set out. Sonja says she's taking her home. The little girl loved the village she was at, though, even though it apparently wasn't her home. and she loved a lot of the people there. But Red Sonja is supposedly taking her back to her true mother, her true home, and that's what she was tasked to do. And the little girl's asking, "Is it you, Mom?" And she's like, "I'm not your mother." And then we get the flashback of when Red Sonja got the mission to save this little girl and reunite her with her real mom. And that's what Red Sonja's operating on now. She doesn't have much more information than that. A little girl needs help like she did when she was young and her family was murdered. And she's being tasked with getting her home safely. And Red Sonja is taking that to heart, and she's there to complete that mission and see this girl to safety. I have a feeling there's going to be more behind that once Sonja finally gets her back home. Of course there is, and we'll see what that is eventually. That's in other upcoming issues. But while they're on the path home, the little girl and her are talking, and they're kind of having their conversations about different things on the way, like groundhogs, what they're called where Red Sonja's from, what they're called where a little girl's from, and just that every culture kind of has its own names for things, and they're bonding and they're learning more about each other. And this is setting up more of the mother role for Sonja, for the little girl, even though Red Sonja is not her mom. Red Sonja is fierce and protective of her like she is. And the little girl's got some scars on her, and just everything about her is bonding Sonja to her against her judgment. She doesn't want to be bonded. She doesn't want to care as much as she cares, but she's Red Sonja and she does. So they're talking about the village, and Red Sonja is starting to get the inkling that things aren't necessarily as they were presented to her, because the little girl has nothing bad in her from the village, in her time with the village, like a kidnapped victim would. So there's a little bit more to the mystery there. I'm not going to keep delving into all this. This is a first issue. It just came out this week, and I am already telling a lot. I don't want to ruin all the surprises for you guys that are going to check it out. But Sonja's teaching the little girl stuff too. Like, you have to be able to take care of yourself, and just swinging a few things around and acting like a warrior doesn't make you a warrior. So Red Sonja is giving her some lessons, because the little girl is mostly playing and acting like Red Sonja, and Red Sonja is kind of annoyed. She's like, lesson number one: shaking a stick and making a lot of noise is useless. You will learn everything within our vicinity that we're here. And so she's being a little short with her, but she's also giving her lessons that'll save her. And they catch a couple of these groundhogs and they make them for dinner. And the little girl notices that Red Sonja doesn't eat a lot. She doesn't sleep a lot. She doesn't know how she sustains herself. But it's more of a blessing from the goddess Skathak, and Red Sonja is just watching over her, and she wants her to be okay. And the little girl's sleeping. Red Sonja does a motherly thing, and she covers her up by the campfire. And then they're off the next day, and they run into a huge party of warriors led by the one escaping guy from the band that she mostly killed. This guy she let run to give a warning. The warning's backfiring, and they're all there. And Sonja goes into full attack mode to protect the girl, and she is just taking out this band of warriors like nobody's business. And Sonja is finally getting captured and being choked, and something happens with the little girl. She has some powers that no one knew about, and she's screaming, "Mom, don't, no, let her go. Let my mom go," and that's it. Flames shoot out. Everyone is burned but Sonja and the little girl. And you see for the first time there's something to this girl that you didn't know about this whole issue. You just got this information. It's a wow moment. It's really well done. And Sonja is just beaten. She's been fighting. She's been protecting, and she's worn, and she can barely walk, and she can't really sustain herself or get herself up. And then we get the last panel, and the little girl's like, "Don't worry, I'm strong like you." And it's a great moment. And she picks up Red Sonja, and she's carrying her on her shoulders. And the issue ends there, going into the next chapter. And I just finished that, and I was just like, wow. What a great beginning to this tale. They got every single characterization of Red Sonja right. She is a warrior, and they nailed it. All right, she does instill fear. They nailed it. She does instill awe in people. They nailed it. But she's also sympathetic and empathetic, and she has a moral core that doesn't change, and they nailed that too. And usually, these writers they'll nail one or two of the different plot points of one of the characterizations of Sonya, but they won't nail them all. And again, Mirka Andolfo, and I keep forgetting the other one's name, Luca Blangino. They nailed the Red Sonja character in this first issue, and just off this issue alone, I am really, really excited to see where this series goes. Because I think this could be the best Red Sonja series we've had in quite a while. And Mark Russell's run was great up until he left in issue 24. And then the people that took it over ruined the last four issues and the ending of that series. I'm hoping this series is going to pick up the pieces. It's a whole entirely different story than what Mark Russell did. But this story is great. It is really firing on all cylinders on this first issue. It was a great introduction to a new series. A great reintroduction to a heroine we all know and love, and I'm excited to see where this goes. This was spectacular. Everything about this issue for me is going to get an A plus plus. I just thought it nailed it all around. It was just the lettering was great. It stood out and it was good, and it stood out in a way that enhanced the story, not detracted from it or took you out of it. The coloring was fantastic and was part of the story. The art was fluid. The writing was great. I have nothing bad to say about this book. I really loved it. I hope you love it. Let me know if you check it out. And until next time, keep it casual.